And that will do it for the repêchages for today. And we will move on to A finals for the rest of the day. We will be giving out medals here in the U23 Women's Coxed 4. Again, 4 rowers in the boat with a Coxie. Yana, do you want to talk a little bit about what the role of the Coxie is during these events?
Yeah, of course. So the Coxie, they not only steer the boat and make sure you stay on course in your lane, the straightest route possible to the finish line, because you don't want to be zigzagging throughout your lane, because that's going to add seconds onto your time, and every second counts in a sport like this. You can see all the Coxies are all in bow riders. Yeah, I'll talk more about the Coxies in a second. We're going to introduce these boats as they're in the starting gates right now.
As you saw a little earlier there, Italy in lane number 1. United States in lane 2. Carly Lejanowski is the Coxie in the front of the boat there. Lane number 3, New Zealand. You see 2 minutes left. Oliver Duncan, Coxie, with Isabel Eladius Watson as in the stroke seat. And then the host country of Canada, I'm sure there's lots of fans out there. Canada in lane 4. Sarah Findell, Coxie, Madison Scott in the stroke seat. Going to be a very interesting last few hundred meters for Canada, as we'll see, I'm sure, a huge, huge applause for them coming in as the first A final comes in this week. Top 3 will be medaling. And USA and both New Zealand being in that center lane. You know that they're the ones to beat. Again, some different strategies here, as the oars are on different sides depending on what the coaches think work best for the team.
See, this boat here is bucket rigged. We've got seats 2 and 3 on port and bow and stroke on starboard.
Another thing to add, usually in university during this time at the U23 age group, Aurelia Elliott currently studying cellular and molecular biology, which I don't know too much about, but I would imagine takes an extreme amount of knowledge and time and effort to be on top of her grades there, alongside of being at such a high level of rowing. She's in the 3rd seat there. But again, lots of university athletes competing here, as well as competing for their university or club.
You can see all the girls getting ready, sitting up at attention, getting ready to sit up. Blades squared in the water to make sure they stay straight and on course. Sometimes you'll see the bow spike it a little bit, which means they kind of just put the oar in and out, and it moves you a little bit.
USA.
They're all setting up, ready to go.
Canada. Attention.
And the first A final is off and ready. We're going to see they're getting off the block very hot. Their stroke rate per minute is going to be about just under 50 strokes per minute, as they want to get up to their highest, or their high speed as fast as possible and then start to cruise a little bit once they get to a few hundred meters out. Again, we talk about adrenaline, excitement, just the energy these boats will have in the first 100 meters. And then once we get close-ups, we're going to see just how grueling it is on the faces of these athletes.
You can hear the Coxies yelling at their crew, telling them their race plan, motivating them, telling them to stay on the legs, breathing. It is really important that you're sitting tall, not arching your back. That can hurt you very badly if you have bad posture during these races, because you're putting so much power into every stroke.
USA currently leading. Italy, New Zealand, Canada within 10 meters of the leader. And then one thing to add about Coxey's, Oliver Duncan of New Zealand, his biggest challenge this season has been adapting to now coxing the women's crew as he's used to the men. Of course, having different biology between the men and women can definitely be different, and you have to understand how to motivate each of them separately.
It is a completely different ball game, being a coxie for men and women. I have a friend who used to be the best coxie we had at our high school, and she explained how coxieing men and women was just so different, because the women typically have perfect technique, and she doesn't have to focus on talking to them about technique. She just has to focus on talking to them about staying on the legs and breathing and stuff like that. But then the men, she has to focus on technique calls, because the men will just push with the legs, and that's all they're thinking about. So she has to remind them to tap down and stay in time and stuff like that. It's different call outs you'll give for different crews. It also depends on, obviously, who is in the boat, not just gender. But the coxies do so much for these races, so you don't really have to worry about anything. You can all keep your heads in the boat. You don't have to look around. You don't have to look behind you. The coxie will take care of everything. You don't have to worry about it. You just have to worry about staying in time, staying on the legs, getting those tap downs, those big puddles, as we can see right here, being propelled forwards.
Crossing the halfway marker on the water. It is New Zealand in the lead with the USA right beside them. Italy 10 meters back from the leaders. Canada falling a little bit more behind, 30 meters now. But as they get ready to make a push for the sprint, they have to get themselves in a little bit of a better position to make those pushes count, making them at the right time. Coxie will help them with that, their timing and everything.
Yeah, these coxies have a Cox box in the boat, which has speakers, so all the athletes all the way up to the front can hear everything they're saying. They have a little mic that you can see around their head. And Strokesy and the Coxie will have speed coaches or stroke coaches. Some other athletes in the boat also might have one if they have a personal one. It just helps everyone stay in time and stay on the legs. You can see your stroke rate, you can see how far you've gone, you can see that end goal, and you don't have to look outside of the boat, you don't have to think about anything, you can just look straight ahead and focus on your strokes.
New Zealand in the lead now over the United States by still a very narrow margin. A challenge for some of these rowers like Samantha Premerl from Italy is the mental health side of things. It is a very mental sport, and getting up every morning, sometimes even at 3 a.m. like we saw Ian O'Reilly of America earlier. Getting up very early every morning. It is a very physical and mental grind to be the best you can be at this level. And you're seeing it. It's going to be all worth it here once you cross the finish line and get your medal. New Zealand up 5 meters on USA. Italy back 28. Canada slipping out of the race just a little bit. 70 meters now back from the leader. 300 meters left. As you can see, the judges' tower, the grandstands.
You can see the girls coming up on that last 250. They know they're going to start their finish piece now. Now is the time to put it all out on the course. There's nothing left.
It looks like New Zealand, USA, Italy all going to be getting a medal here, but it depends what color. New Zealand looks like they're going to be taking home the gold. USA right on their heels. Oliver Duncan, New Zealand Coxed, doing an excellent job motivating the rowers in his boat. Pushing, it's going to be close. 7 meters back is the United States. New Zealand taking home the gold and the World Championship title. USA second place. You see the excitement. So proud of themselves. Third is Italy, and Canada will come fourth place here at the 2024 World Championships.
You can see the Coxed getting up out of his bow rider, hugging the girls in the boat. It's like a family.
It's finally hitting them now, being world champions. Oliver Duncan, like we said, in the Coxed. Isabella Lattis-Watson, stroke. Jane Skelkins in the third seat. Charlotte Derry in the second. And Orla Fitzgerald in the bow. World champions here in 2024. An amazing race still by the Americans, who came silver. Time of 7 minutes and 3 seconds exactly. You always love to see that number with no decimal places. Second place, United States, with a time of 7 minutes and 4 seconds. An amazing race by them. We're neck and neck with New Zealand the entire way. New Zealand just pulled away by around 10 meters in the last 100 meters to take home the gold. There's Italy, 7 minutes and 9 seconds. Good for third place. Canada 22 seconds behind New Zealand, still fourth place. An amazing run on home soil by them, getting the opportunity to race for a medal. They're definitely going to understand what they have to do for the next season and start preparing and getting ready for that, as I am sure they do not want to be left in fourth place again.